Welcome, and thank you for joining us for the 2025 Big Idea Competition live from Bradley University. We are recording and streaming this event to our alumni and friends through the Braves Talk webcast from the Office of Alumni Relations. Hosted by the Turner School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, this event highlights the work of Bradley students and recent alumni as they bring ideas they've developed that they hope to bring to life. We're glad to have you with us to support their efforts. It's time to hear some big ideas.
And I am the Academic and Executive Director of the Turner School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. It is my pleasure actually to kick off tonight by briefly introducing Professor James Shadid, President James Shadid. He's going to open this morning with my goodness, I think I need some more sleep. He's going to open this evening with some welcoming words, and then I will come back and take you through the rest of the evening. President Shadid.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary, and good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor to welcome you to Bradley University Big Idea Competition Final Pitch event. Thank you to all of you for being here, especially Bob and Carolyn Turner, whose generous support and vision helped launch the Turner School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Bob and Carolyn, look what you've made possible for us. Thank you so much. We're also grateful to the Turner School Advisory Council members, our dedicated faculty and staff, and many community leaders who have served as mentors and champions for our student teams. And of course, a warm welcome to our students, the heart of this event. Are you able to hear me? Okay. Today is a celebration of ideas, but more than that, it's a celebration of effort, of initiative, perseverance, resilience, and collaboration. The Big Idea Competition embodies the spirit of innovation that is essential not just to the success in business, but to the future of our region and our world. And I think about what this competition represents, and as I do so, I'm reminded of the vision of our founder, Lydia Moss Bradley. She didn't seek to just establish a university. She sought to shape lives. She believed deeply in the power of education to develop students who are independent, industrious, and useful. And in her mind, the word useful meant to serve your communities. That spirit is totally alive here today. Every pitch, every concept, every challenge these teams have tackled reflects the qualities that Mrs. Bradley valued: critical thinking, hard work, determination, and most importantly, a desire to make a difference in somebody else's life. Competitions like this are more than just academic exercises. They are powerful platforms for experiential learning. And if I'm stumbling at all, I had a root canal at noon today. So if it's not coming out as crystal clear as it's supposed to, bear with me. An experiential was one of those I wasn't sure was coming out. They extend what's taught in the classroom and bring it to the real world. Students not only explore ideas, they test them. You learn how to collaborate, how to pivot, how to take feedback, and how to fail forward. That's the kind of learning that sticks. And that's the kind of preparation that makes students not just career ready, but future ready. Events like this Big Idea Competition, are also vital for our broader ecosystem. They provide a unique opportunity for Bradley and the community to come together, to mentor, to support, to invest. This partnership is key to strengthening our pipeline, connecting students to job opportunities, and contributing to a more vibrant and resilient economy. Research will tell us that students who engage in startup competitions like this show a marked increase in their entrepreneurial spirit. And when these events become annual traditions, like they are here at Bradley University, they become anchors in our regional development and regional development strategies. Mentors, judges, investors, many of you are here today, play critical roles in your growth and in that growth. Now, of course, competition is a valuable teacher. It pushes us to sharpen our ideas, to aim higher, to work harder. But just as important as are the relationships forged along the way. Networking, learning to connect, to build teams, to ask for guidance, to seek help from others, to seek collaboration. Those are skills that can't be taught in a textbook, but they are indispensable to your long-term and our long-term success. At Bradley, we are working every day, going forward, to build a campus culture that reflects these values, a culture that honors our past while embracing our future, a culture where innovation, inclusion, and impact go hand in hand. The Big Idea competition is a shining example of that vision in action. So to all of our student teams, thank you. You have inspired us with your creativity, your tenacity, your willingness to dream big. No matter the outcome today, know that the skills that you've developed, the relationships you've built, and the courage you've shown are already a winning combination. But even more than that, here at Bradley University, we are simply proud of you. We're proud of how you conduct yourselves and how you have represented the university. To our mentors, judges, and guests, thank you for believing in our students and investing in their growth. Let us continue here at Bradley University to be remarkable and to build remarkable together. Thank you again. Good luck to all of you.
Thank you, President Chad. Some of you may know that I'm also a Bradley alum, and so it's just with such pride that I actually get to stand here coming back after just a few years, all right, and seeing another alum now as president. It's just a very warm and exciting feeling for me, but I won't take you down that journey road, don't worry. I do want to take a minute though, because maybe some of you in the room who are part of our community do not know exactly what the Turner School is. Right? We started in 2012, and we are an come alongside of us. We want to come alongside of students to help them dream, design, and develop their ideas. And we do that by really trying to be inclusive. So regardless of your major, regardless of your year at school, regardless of where you came from to arrive here at Bradley, and in celebrating that, be innovative. Take that risk and do what you need to do so that you can be you. Join me in first welcoming the judges. I'm going to introduce our judges to you very quickly. They have very long and established backgrounds, so it's always difficult to just highlight a few words. Our judges in not any particular order. Our first judge is Kathy Holt. Kathy is also an alum of Bradley University, president and CEO of RCMS LLC, a consulting firm that she founded in 2012. The firm specializes in highway construction and technology markets. She has held executive roles at ACCI and Road Safe Traffic Services, as was inducted into Bradley's Centurion Society, which is one of our highest honors for alum, and for her industry leadership. Holtz currently serves as the vice chairman of Bradley University's Board of Trustees. So again, we see that example of giving back, right? Through the leadership, through what we have learned at Bradley and continuing to give that back. Which reminds me, some of you may or may not know that we're also live streaming this event tonight. So for the first time for the Big Idea, again, an innovative approach is we have alum from around the world who are able to join us today, right? And see what the students of today are doing and how that connects to their experience. And speaking of students and connecting, we have as another judge, Professor Tanya Markham. Some of you may know her. She's a professor of business law, the chair of the Department of Entrepreneurship, Technology, and Law here at Bradley. Since joining the faculty in 2007, she's contributed her expertise in business law. I venture to say many of you have taken her class in law and entrepreneurship. And she does alternative dispute resolution as well. Prior to her academic career, Professor Markham served as the in-house legal counsel for the IRS Service for a decade. She holds a Bachelor's of Science from Central Michigan University and a JD from Thomas M. Cooley Law School. Next on our judges, one of our newest members for our advisory council, Mr. Rob Drew. And just in case you're wondering about that networking, it's a great story how Rob and I met sitting at a Bradley basketball game next to each other and just struck up a conversation. And that led to him actually joining us here today. So Rob, a fellow alum, is a managing partner of Retail Strategy Partners and serves on the advisory council for Bradley's Turner School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Am I allowed to say what year you graduated by? No. A recent grad, Rob brings extensive retail and strategic expertise to his role, supporting the university's mission to foster innovation and entrepreneurial growth. And our very newest member to the advisory council is Mr. Bob Sifferman, also an alum. He's a retired technology executive and SCORE. If you don't know what SCORE is, you definitely want to check with Bob and some other SCORE volunteers we have in the room. He is the SCORE District Director in North Texas. As a Bradley alum, he has served on the university's Alumni Association Board of Directors, and as I mentioned, is now serving in the Turner School's Advisory Council. Bob Sifferman and his wife Carolyn are members of Bradley's 1897 Legacy Society, reflecting their enduring commitment to the university. So these are our judges for this evening. As I said, very astute background. As President Chad had mentioned, we also have several members of our advisory council here. And I want to call out also some of our sponsors from the community. Peoria Next is a sponsor of this event tonight. And for the winners, there's what we call an in-kind donation coming from Peoria Next, which gives you free access to a co-working space. And the Small Business Development Center, our award-winning Small Business Development Center here at Bradley University, is offering the winners this evening consultation and an assessment of their work. So thank you, Mr. Jim Foley and your team at SBDC. The last thing I want to remind you all of, no, not that one. Not that one either. I think we've got a slight delay, so give me a second to go back one more. Hands off the control. All right, well, what I want to tell you about here is how we got here. A lot of times we think the 10 minutes that these teams have to tell you about their story is their whole story, but it is not. They have gone through a very long journey to get here, which began probably for many of them before January of this year, but they went to some ideation sessions, they looked for team members, met team members. From that, we had 24 submissions. After you get accepted through that, we do some coaching sessions for the Innovation Expo. So there's a first round of judging, some of whom are in the room, which is an online judging platform that brings the student teams down to 18. So in this very room, we had the Innovation Expo where students have to do some customer discovery and explain to their potential clients or customers what their business is, what it means, what they offer. From those 18 teams, some of whom the judges from there are here as well, we get to this final four. But that final four also has to do with feasibility plans. So you'll see today their pitch, but know that they also have a very extensive feasibility plan, which our judges have read and will also ask questions on. So I mentioned part of our community. The 2 or 3 folks that I want to mention also is our staff who's here. So as Dr. Marcos Hashimoto makes his way to the stage, I also want to acknowledge Dr. Jane Talkington, who is our Associate Director at the Turner School, and our newest member, Katie Whalen, who is our Event and program coordinator. So Dr. Marcos, I'll invite you up and ask you to think through some of the key learnings that have gotten us here. Please, thank you.
Thank you very much. Marcos Hashimoto, Managing Director of the Turner School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. It's a pleasure to be here and culminating tonight with a whole semester of work, and for some of you working since last year. So it all ends today. And all those people, these students who embarked in this journey, I am one advocate of the business plan competitions or pitch competitions. That's how I got into academia and entrepreneurship. That's how I started my first venture 25 years ago. So I totally believe the power of business and pitch competitions, because it's a very hands-on learning, okay? You don't learn just by reading about business plan. You actually do that. You actually create your business idea. And on this process, not only you write, but you also have this experience of confronting users, teamwork, coming up and developing your idea, giving up some of the ideas and turning into something and pivoting entirely your business. So this process is what nurture your entrepreneurial mindset. And going over the barriers and difficulties and very restricted time to accomplish all these things, this also built community, this also built teamwork, and also implementing this. So the learning doesn't stop here. Whatever is your situation, if you are a finalist or not, if you are a winner or not, the sparkle is already there. We plant the seed, the entrepreneurship and innovation seed in your mind, and some of you will nurture this seed and will become real entrepreneurs tomorrow. So it's not about winning the competition, but what started here. And this start is maybe your future, maybe something that you will be proud. And even if you fail, and you turn into another business, the learning is there, okay? So that is what we proudly say, that's our impact in our students, okay? Pitching skills, self-confidence, all this comes together at the end of this competition. So let's now welcome our finalists. We have very short time here, and moving forward to the finalists. We have, please show hands, first finalist, Tiny Footprints. Next, Kelly Vaughan. The Hunter System, there in the back. And Dormley. So these are the competitors, contestants today, and here how it is going to work, okay? Each team will have 10 minutes to make their pitch, to deliver their presentation, and following that, the judges have up to 10 minutes of Q&A, okay? So they are going to play the role of potential investors in this business, and they are going to make questions and see how prepared the teams are. We are going to give signs for the teams, 2 and 1 minute signs, so you can control and your timing. And after all teams presented, we will go to a separate room to deliberate who's going to be the winners. We have the score sheets, but it's also have to be a criteria. So we will consider not only the feasibility plan that they already written and the judges already read, but also the pitch, their performance, not only the presentation, but how they answered the questions. The decision is a consensus, okay? So we will consider the scores, but we will have a common consensus after the discussion from the judges. And then we come back after 10, 15 minutes to announce the winners, okay? So that's how this is going to work. And without further delay, please, the Hunter System, come get prepared.
Yeah, it is working. Let's just do the last check. It's working. Good evening, everyone. This is Naveed, our CEO.
All right. Have they started the time? Have you started the time? All right. Yeah, it's on. Yeah. All right. Perfect.
1 million, 2 million, yeah. Okay.
3 million. Yeah, that's perfect. There we go. Okay, we're ready. Hello, everyone. My name is Nabil Tagba, and presenting with me today is Hardik Singhvi.
Hi.
We have been working on a groundbreaking application called the Hunter System. The Hunter System is what we like to call a social adventure platform, which is a game that uses augmented reality to craft adventures in our cities and towns. It has us explore our neighborhoods through these adventures while sharing the extraordinary moments through social network connectivity features like photos, videos, messaging, and posting stories. So just like how people go to Facebook to connect and Instagram to share moments, they go to the Hunter System to live adventures. And you may be asking, where did this come from? Well, as kids, we used to watch these movies and TV shows about legendary heroes who would go on amazing adventures, slaying dragons and uncovering strange mysteries. We would imagine ourselves in their shoes, living in those worlds. And that's it. We can only imagine. But what if we could do more? What if we could live those adventures? What if we could experience those stories not as the spectators, but as the heroes? That is the promise of the Hunter System. Using augmented reality, we're able to bring fiction into the real world, allowing us to experience extraordinary moments while sharing them with our friends. Through our interactive AR technology, we're able to bring virtual objects into the real world. They stand firmly on the ground, they have physics, shadows, and through AR occlusion, they're able to stand both in front of and behind real-world objects. But instead of telling you, how about we show you? This is the monster encounter scene. And what's happening here is called AR meshing. It's basically building a topology over the real world. This is what allows virtual objects to stand firmly on the ground. I'm going to call one of my monsters. That one right there is an enemy monster. I'll call mine over here, and I can tell him to move here, and he comes. I can tell him to come closer, and he comes. I can tell him to dance, and he dances. I can even tell him to fight, and he fights. I can shoot magic spells. Look at that. Using this technology, we can make any adventure that we can think of.
We started in the year of 2024. We have a working prototype and we are on track. We have a projected launch in the year of 2026.
Now, you may be asking, how the heck are these guys going to make money from this? Well, we have come up with 5 different ways of making money from this, but today we will be covering 2. On the B2C section and the B2B section. On the B2C section, we will be selling in-game customizations. Players will be able to customize their characters, weapons, and any visual aspect that may impact the game. Think of it like fashion in the real world. You may buy basketball sneakers not because they make you run faster or jump higher, but because they look cool and they make you feel cool. On the B2B section, we'll be selling what we call location-based foot traffic ads. To better explain this, I'll be telling you guys a story. Imagine there's a grandma called Grandma May, and she owns a local taco shop. She needs to market her taco shop, so she goes to our marketing dashboard called Adly and buys our location-based foot traffic ads with an incentive to give to the end user. This then triggers events in the Hunter system. Let's say the event is there is a dragon attacking Grandma May's taco shop. All right, now minutes later, groups of teenagers come near her taco shop, playing the Hunter system. And once done, they will be rewarded the incentive, which in this case will be, let's say, 10% off tacos, which they can use to then interact with Grandma May's business. All right, so who's our target market? Our target market is the fantasy genre fan base. But within the fantasy genre fan base is the role-playing fan base. We believe this fan base would be the perfect early adopters. Of course, there's the monster-catching fan base, who our game may appeal to because our combat system involves you commanding magical creatures to fight for you. Now, let's talk some numbers with Hardik.
Thanks, Nabil. So our industry size currently stands at $14 billion, which is expected to grow at 26% CAGR to reach a whopping $142 billion within 10 years. To calculate our market size, we used a TAM, SAM, SO model using a bottoms-up approach, which is simply multiplying number of users with cost per user. This includes both B2B and B2C in our case. TAM, total available market, is $74 billion. We have calculated this based on all the local businesses in the world who are interacting with our game and all the users, fantasy genre fan base, who purchase our services. That is $74 billion. But realistically, serviceable available market stands at $7 billion, which say all the local businesses who have access to internet, GPS, and all the role-based fantasy genre fan base who are actually interested in our game. That stands at $7 billion. And out of which, realistically, in the best case scenario, our achievable market, that is serviceable, obtainable market, is $74 million based on the competition and the industry players. With that said, you might be wondering who is our competition. Our competition in the B2C segment is Pokemon Go, which was developed by Niantic and which was recently sold to Scopely for a staggering $3.5 billion. In the B2B segment, we have Foursquare, who uses location-based marketing as their revenue model. For example, I'm sitting in Chicago office and working late night. And I see an advertisement for Uber saying 5% off on my next trip, which is actually using my location and tracking my location history. We have a really diverse team. Me and Anis come from Asia, Nabil and John comes from West Africa, and Fred and Trinity are from North America. With our different background, we bring in those values in our game.
Now, let's talk mentors. We have a very unique suite of mentors, each excelling in their field. There's Dr. Conway, who decided to teach a whole class this semester just to teach us how to be entrepreneurs. There's Rahul Tyagi, the founder of Rehab Ranger and a previous winner of the Big Idea competition. He gave us great tips on how to approach the big idea. There's Danielle Scarzello. She is the program manager at G-Beta, also the person who taught us at G-Alpha, which is a program held by an incubator called Generator at the Steruli Labs. We have Grant Watkins, who is the program manager of G-Alpha within another state. He told us to focus on the game side first, which led us to us finishing our prototype. We have Brian Getz, who has been our mentor throughout the whole Big Idea competition. And of course, Nate Dominini, who was the first to tell us that interactivity was our main selling point.
Yes, more important numbers. We are looking for our lead investor to start our pre-seed round, which is of $100,000 with 5% equity to give up. We start in the year of 2026. We break even in the second year of operations based on our very conservative calculations of projections, users, and revenue. We pay back our investors within 4 years of operation, that is 2029. Within 5 years of operations, based on our conservative approach, we reach $13.6 million of revenue.
All right, now let's talk about our achievements. Well, first, we've reached over 10,000 people on YouTube. We have created a process that reassures downloads using Google Ads, and we've used it to get over 500 plus downloads on a dummy application we made. We've been through G-Alpha, which is a program held by an incubator called Generator at Distillery Labs. And of course, we've created a prototype, which you've seen. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed our presentation, and we'll see you on the hunt.
Thank you.
What do you think?
Okay, well, first of all, nice job.
Thank you.
Obviously, a huge market, and you guys have, articulated both a unique insight and clearly competency in the space. The question that comes to mind, and having come from the consumer products industry, where there's a lot of competitive product finding its way to shelves, one singular measure of success is repeat. So driving trial is a relatively easy endeavor. As you guys have engaged consumers early on, I recognize it's early. Can you talk a little bit about what your repeat has been and what your feedback mechanism is for ensuring that the experience is top notch and is going to drive usage and time on platform?
All right. So when we first started development, we decided to chronicle our progress on social media platforms, mainly YouTube. We love doing this because one, it helps us gain an initial user base, and we get to talk to the end users. Not only that, but it acts as a negative customer acquisition cost because YouTube will be paying us while we're bringing out content to users.
And to add on, there is a comment section in YouTube, as you all know. We always look out for those comments. Okay, what is the user interested in? What are they liking in the game?
Yeah.
So that's where we come up, okay, this idea can be incorporated, or we have different inputs from our team members. Okay, we are actually interested in this. We can do this better, and this is what is people want. So that's
recently we've started doing player discovery trials. We were basically we made a form, and we were trying to run into different Reddit pages and try to get people to fill out the form. We're still waiting on some to be put on some Reddit pages, but some have already gone through, and we've gotten hundreds of views, which tells us we should actually start marketing on Reddit too. So it's pretty cool.
All right, so it was a great presentation. I have a couple questions, or at least one question. Maybe it'll lead into number two, depending on the answer. I like the idea that you can do customizations and get some local businesses or international businesses and stuff involved with things, like the Grandma May example that you showed us. How are you going to be trying to get these Grandma Mays who may not be at all familiar with this virtual social adventure system to want to be part of what you're doing?
Yeah. So on the B2B side, actually, we've also been doing customer discovery. We basically ran inside of Campus Town, going to family-owned restaurants and just basically interviewing them, asking them what their needs are. And obviously, they're not dying. They don't need our services, but they've all said that our services is something they've been looking for and what they want to use, right? They're always looking for a new way of marketing their business, which is great. And we've also acquired most of their emails, so we can contact them. So through this, we've identified that even though they might not be technically versed, they're already trying to attempt to find tools like the ones we're creating. So just bringing it out to the market will just help them out, and we can make it easier for them to use the tool by simplifying our systems. Can you show them the Adly page? Yes. So this is our marketing dashboard. This is the funds page. As you can see, it's very minimalistic, easy to understand. And this is the ads page where you see your list of ads. You basically click the little button here, you create an ad, and you go through what we call one-click ad technology, which is just you answering simple questions about your business, which will then be used to create an ad.
And to add on, not just grandma,
Yeah,
we
it's not
also-
just grandmas. We use the grandma because we want to show how easy it is to use.
we also want to incorporate NGOs who want to drive the attendance at the events, as well as giving the incentive to the user to be there. Let's say a music concert in Chicago. That's where we are just tapping in, wherever people want user interaction, where they are feeling short of people to connect with them.
First of all, gentlemen, thank you very, very much. This was exciting to read your feasibility plan, and it's exciting to hear about your presentation. I also want to congratulate you for going first. Long after the butterflies are still with your competitors, but yours are going to be over pretty soon. So congratulations on that. I find this incredibly innovative, and I'm intrigued by your thoughts on fundraising, not in terms of revenue, but in terms of capital requirements. And whether you're borrowing money from mom and dad or cousin Eddie, or looking to venture capitalists or private equity or angel investors, at some point, those investors will expect a return, not only of their original investment, but hopefully some appreciation in that. Have you thought about what kind of a time frame you would be looking to provide a return of capital to your investors?
Yes, I can better answer that question. We launch in the year of May 2026, summer of 2026, with a minimal capital investment, which is around $1.5 million after our seed round, and the next round is Series A round, which is majorly focused on expansion. But when we launch, we get the user base of around 100,000 unique users. Those users interact with the application on multiple and daily basis. That generates ad revenue, that generates customization revenue, in-app purchases, and of course, the local businesses who interact with the platform to market their business. With that, we have a revenue inflow from the beginning. So we are not cash crunch. We are actually have a positive cash flow. With that helps to stay afloat and invest in the game to market and expand.
Yeah.
With that said, we are able to cover our expenses and break even in the second year of operations.
What's interesting is that because of the way it's a platform, we can come up with very unique and creative ways of basically monetizing our platform. We've come up with 5 already, but while we were practicing, Dr. Marcos told us that we can do sponsors. So let's say a monster is wearing like basketball sneakers or something. Stuff like that we can do. I just thought of one. We could probably do like billboard ads in augmented reality, just floating in midair. That'd be crazy to see. But yeah, just be creative and have fun with the process.
So we do expect to give returns to the investor within 4 years, the entire return and appreciation to the capital investment.
Great, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Could you discuss a little bit more about, I'm confused a little bit, the revenue sources coming.
Yes,
Where the
okay.
revenue is coming from, because you're addressing 2 different markets, B2C, B2B.
Yes.
Most companies, most startups struggle with just one market, being B2C or whatever. So you got 2 huge markets you're going after. But I'm more confused on where is the revenue coming from and how does that drive the other piece?
Oh, okay. I can explain that. So on the B2C side, the one we explained, the character customizations, that comes from the users, right? The people playing the game. So the point is that for them to play the game, see the value in it, enough to buy customizations to basically make their characters look cool and feel cool.
And how much is the customization? I guess I'm trying to get, what is that
Oh,
cost?
okay.
What is that revenue? The numbers, I mean, when people are going to invest in you, they're going to say, okay, show me the
Yes.
So
show me the money, right? But show me the dollars in the sense of, so what is that going to look like?
So we have we will be having a large suite of customizations and then an in-game currency. There's going to be 3 purchase options. We're using the anchoring method for this. It was 99 cents for 2,000.
Yes.
it was $299 for 5,000,
Yes.
and then $499
Yes.
for 10,000, right? This uses the anchoring method, so we expect people to buy the more expensive option more than the cheaper option because better deal. When they buy this option, it basically gives them in-game currencies that they can use to buy any customization that they want. And
To add on, we have in total 5 segments. In the B2C segment, we have 4 revenue streams. In that, we have major revenue stream as in-app purchases, which Nabil recently explained, which is around 60% of our entire revenue model. And in the B2B segment, we have local businesses, event organizers who want to drive, let's say, zoos or parks, who want to drive the public to their event. So we have these 2 major segments. You can imagine Amazon, they have customers buying their products and sellers selling their product. So we have users who are interacting with the game, and we have business owners who are actually selling or promoting their businesses by giving incentive to the user. So that's the basic model where we are trying to connect users and businesses as well, along with that revenue model from the users, which is in-app purchases.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, then you have to have a critical mass on the B2C first,
Yes.
all right?
Yes.
And have you figured out what that critical mass is?
Yes.
Before you go to B2B?
Yes. So our major focus is B2C in the initial phase, and then we try to bring in the B2B.
Okay,
Thank you.
very much, guys.
Thank you.
we did it. How you feel?
Thank you. Good job. Thank you.
Cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Zachary Dupree. I am the CEO and founder of Dormly. First up, I'm going to take you through my schedule as a student here at Bradley University. The first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is, I'm hungry, I want breakfast, so I check the dining hall app. But maybe I don't have enough meal swipes for the dining hall, so I go to check the e-accounts app. After breakfast is taken care of, it's time for class, so I go to the student app to check my class schedule. After classes are taken care of, I go back to my dorm. Maybe I want to do some laundry, so I check the laundry app. Later in the day, maybe I want to see what's happening on campus tomorrow, clubs and events, so I check the student events app. As you can see, these are just 5 of the services that I use here on a daily basis at Bradley University. That doesn't even begin to account for a lot of the other software that I use on a non-daily basis. The other thing is, these software services are costing universities a lot of money, upwards of $1.6 million annually per university. This is just some of the examples of software that we use here at Bradley, and as you can see, they're all from independent vendors. Software costs are up and they are rising, and while that's happening, enrollment is down. Universities like Bradley are struggling to have the funds to be able to afford these very expensive and rising costs of software. The cherry on top, students, faculty, and staff are unsatisfied with the software. They find it antiquated, out of date, and very disconnected. This is a global issue. We even have a testimonial from a student in New Zealand. For the solution, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Dormly, the modern higher education software suite. To talk more about Dormly, here's Duncan.
Thanks, Zach. So Dormly's mission is to replace some of these outdated systems that Zach has mentioned, to integrate them so they work better together, and to consolidate them to save universities money. We're starting with the 2 products that we know best. All 3 of us here are students and resident advisors at Bradley, which leads us to our first 2 products, On Campus, the student app for the modern day, and ResLife, a resident management platform. First, let's dive a little bit more into On Campus. So on-campus aims to simplify common day-to-day actions for students. With things like the Up Next menu where you can see all of your classes, assignments, clubs, extracurriculars, and other meetings you have coming up throughout the day all in one place. Something we're personally very excited about is the For You page. The For You page shows students what they need when they need it by leveraging other systems. It's designed to mimic social media software that today's college students are very familiar with. Another thing we have is the events page. The student organizations and campus events are directly integrated into the student app, which encourages students to be more involved in campus culture because they know exactly what's happening without having to check another system. Going back to Zach's average schedule here, he has to check 5 different apps. With on-campus, he only has to check 1. We pitched the idea for on-campus to the Vice President for Student Affairs here at Bradley, Nathan Thomas, and he said that is exactly what Bradley needs. Now that we've talked about on-campus, let's move on and talk a little bit about ResLife, the resident management platform. ResLife is purpose-built for universities, and it's designed to help resident advisors and residential living professionals get what they need to done faster with simplified workflows. Building both of these platforms together allows us to do some really cool things that weren't previously possible. Currently, as a resident advisor, I check in packages for residents in our mailrooms. When I check in a package, they receive an email from Bradley's current system. But since we've built on-campus and ResLife together, we can send them a push notification straight to their phone. It's 2025, not 2005, and unfortunately, students don't check their emails like they used to. It's a very simple solution to a problem, but it's something that isn't currently possible given the current software systems. Now that I've talked about Dormly a little bit and our current product lineup, I'm going to pass it off to Ryan to talk about how we're going to make this real.
Thanks, Duncan. My name is Ryan, and I'm the CTO and another developer with Dormly. First, I want to talk about a market trend that's emerging. According to Gartner, by 2030, 25% of higher education institutions are going to be moving to software as a service student information systems, with more to follow. That means in 2025, this is the perfect time to get into software as a service targeting higher education institutions. Taking a look at our market more specifically, as Zach mentioned, higher education institutions, specifically mid-sized ones, are spending an upwards of $1.6 million annually. Based on our research within the market, we've found 4,600 mid-sized higher education institutions across North America, which means that that market is $7.3 billion. Narrowing that market to just the United States, with 4-year higher education institutions that have live-on programs, however, that number decreases to $4.5 billion. Being modest in what we hope to achieve with Dormly, we aim to target $1 million of that, because with our current product lineup, we can't target the full $1.6 million, but we can target some of that, and by year 5, we want to have 10 college campuses working with us. Moving into our pricing, we intend to charge $16 per user for our base product, and institutions are able to add on additional modules at $2 per module per student. This is a standard within software as a service pricing in the industry in general, and as we add more modules, we intend to keep that cost at $2 per module. Additionally, we're a scalable company. Software as a service is scalable by nature, and with our modular pricing, institutions can replace, integrate, and consolidate at their own pace, because we recognize the huge undertaking that it is to move to different softwares for institutions. Finally, looking at our total sales and costs, we expect that we'll have a minimum viable product by August of this year, and we aim to spend the rest of that time out until 2027 marketing. We aim to have our first university working with us, and at that point, we'll be able to have enough cash flow to continue to expand our business, focusing more on ResLife as a platform. And then as we gain more institutions that use our product, we can continue to add to our product lineup and replace more services. Finally, I want to look at our competition. Primarily, we're competing with Pathify and StarRes, both products that are in use at Bradley. On-campus competes directly with Pathify, whereas StarRes here at Bradley competes with our ResLiving platform. Specifically, Pathify exists on top of existing university software solutions and doesn't really do much to aid the student experience, except being an additional app that they have to go to. Whereas StarRes was modeled after hotel management systems and is not a purpose-built software. Both of these issues are addressed with our products, and we've taken great care to solve them. Now I'm going to turn it over to Zach to talk about where we've come.
Cool. Thank you, Ryan. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Dormly's story. Work for Dormly started in January when I had the idea, why doesn't Bradley have a student app? So I got to work on some wireframes. My brother, who has competed in a very similar competition at his school, who placed first 2 years in a row, saw my wireframes and said, you should find something like that at Bradley. So I stumbled upon the Big Idea competition. At this point, it was me and Daniel, who unfortunately was not able to make it today as he's prioritizing school. Come February, my friend Duncan had put together this really awesome website that enables students to be able to check the laundry services available in the dorms. I took one look at it and said, I want you on my team. Duncan also brought along Ryan, who's been very important to our backend and database systems. We hit a little bit of a roadblock when Bradley launched Pathify and the Be Connected student portal. Ultimately, we saw its shortcomings in that it doesn't save the university money and that it sits on top of the existing systems, and we decided to keep going. Then we got serious. We made these lovely embroidered polos, but more importantly, we wrote our 2-page submission to the Big Idea competition. This caught the attention of our first business mentor, Sean Randleman from Caterpillar Incorporated, and we began work on ResLife as well as building out the For You page, which is a key differentiator for our on-campus student app. Come to March, all of our focus shifted towards our Innovation Expo, where we had great success sharing Dormly with the greater Peoria community. We had working prototypes of our products on display, and we came in first place overall. This caught the attention of Professor Jim Foley, who became our second business mentor. During the month of March, we also had some very important meetings, notably with Danielle Scarzello, once again, who's in the audience, and as well as Emily Hushin and Sandy Berry, who work under the Office of the CIO at Bradley. Finally, into April, all of our efforts shifted towards the 10-page business feasibility plan. You can see we had some late nights in the back. Even though we were very busy with that, Duncan still found the time to completely rewrite ResLife to ensure that we are delivering on our promise of modernizing and improving the user experience. And now we're here, finalizing our pitch at the Big Idea Innovation Expo finals round. On behalf of the Dormly team, thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very, very much. I love the concept. I love the logo. Very, very simple, yet very creative, and that combination is always fresh. Early in your presentation, you showed all of the systems that Bradley currently uses. Mm-hmm. In order to entice potential customers to move away from that list of platforms that they use and engage with Dormly, my assumption is that you have other modules that you would build out. Is that correct? What is your pitch today to somebody with your current suite of modules in order to entice them to come on over? And what do you think the timeline might look like for adding additional modules?
Yeah, so we're going to be starting with on-campus because we believe that we can build a minimum viable product for that specific module come August. We're starting with that because, as I had shown earlier in the presentation, that already consolidates about 5 of those software systems. So we can see that there might be a really good value savings there for our customers. Furthermore, on-campus is applicable to many institutions, whereas maybe not every institution has a residential living department, so they might not need the ResLife platform. That's why we're focusing on campus first. Come into the future, we plan on building other things like a catalog management system, but ultimately in those first 3 years, all of our efforts going towards on-campus and ResLife.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good job presenting. You guys are very well coordinated. Not only look, but on how you present it. So appreciate that. Want to say one thing when I had a chance to review your plan. I really like the way you approach funding, okay? And that is sweat equity. That is investing in it, bootstrapping. I think it's a much more realistic way of looking at it, starting small and then seeing if the model works. Mm-hmm. So I commend you on that approach. One area I guess I just want clarification on is what system, you've talked to Bradley. So what systems are you removing from Bradley if they went with your system? What savings is Bradley going to get today? if they went to your system today?
Yeah. So firstly, Pathify, Be Connected would be gone. The CSC Go app for laundry could be integrated within our system as well. There's a dining website Airmark sort of maintains that we can integrate into our system as well. There's Be Involved, which is our campus organizations application. Go away and be integrated within our app as well. And then in terms of other areas, Bradley's website has calendars and other areas like that that we could integrate in.
Do you have any feel of that cost reduction to Bradley at all at this time?
So we know, not specific to Bradley, but we know specific to on-campus and Res Life combined, that institutions would be spending $22 per student annually on that, whereas the costs that I showed you earlier in terms of pricing, we can offer that for $20 per student. So that's the savings for an institution.
So you're saying the savings is $2 a student is basically general. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in our current state. Eventually, when we add more modules, those savings will grow.
Thanks.
Okay, my question's going along with the apps that Bradley has, and maybe would you be able to do something like that? And I was thinking it had like registration for classes. Is there something like that that you would be able to do with?
Absolutely.
And what about Canvas? You know, the
So-
course management side, is it something that just will be integrated that on your app, they can access it that way? Or is there a whole new system you're thinking about doing for that?
Yeah, so there are a few things that are out of Dormley's scope that we're not planning on implementing, at least in this kind of for the foreseeable future. Canvas is one of those because that is a very large learning management system. Ultimately, we try to replace as much as we can, but for the things that we can't, we can still support a few API calls here and there. And I know you had mentioned the course registration system. Actually, we're planning on building that as well. So my stepmom is a professor at North Park University, and even though her primary job is working, teaching, being a professor, something that her higher ups have her do is advising for students, and that is a headache for her. We have a Gartner quote saying that those types of systems, the course advising, degree audit, and like course registration systems are being increasingly used by people outside of IT, and that's creating a demand for better user experience, which is what we're well equipped to do.
Nice job. I love kind of arriving at a solution through your own user experience. Really kind of, breakthrough connections there. Making a systems change for a university is kind of risky business. Can you talk a little bit about, and I love bootstrapping, by the way. I mean, you guys have really put a lot of muscle into this thing, but mitigating the risk for your earliest of adopters, because, success with those first few matter most in everything you're doing. So love to hear, and particularly your point of view around, whether you have adequate resources for development and marketing.
Yeah, so a lot of what we're using on the back end is open source technology, and there are pros and cons to that. But the big thing is that we're not actively maintaining those, and so we get the benefits of security updates and things of that nature without necessarily directly feeding into that. In terms of mitigating risks for institutions, we don't plan to push updates until they've been tested by our team. Going, not necessarily in the immediate future, but once we hit a point where we have a minimum viable product, we would like to engage with people who are beyond us that can test our application and really see what's going on there, right? And so that's a big thing for us. In terms of user data security, we intend to host that on our own system. So we're using Supabase, which is a database provider that's open sourced. And what that allows us to do is while we're building and testing things, we can have a test environment and then spin it up on our own servers when we actually have clients. So that's how we can keep the costs really low while we're developing everything, and then kick it up once we have institutions that use that. The other thing with that is that in general, say an institution, it feels that they're maybe missing a feature or something, we plan to be very available to engage with them and add those, particularly with our first client. Because at that point, 2 of us will hopefully be graduated, so we'll have the time to do that.
I'd also like to add real quick, something that we learned in our meeting with Emily Hushin and Sandy Burry, is that, so they work under the Office of the CIO. Something that we learned is that schools about the size of Bradley are shifting towards software as a service providers because they don't want to maintain a lot of those servers and systems kind of on site. Larger schools like the University of Illinois do have their own software development teams, and they have the resources to be able to do that. But schools like Bradley are kind of mid-size, typically prefer software as a service vendors for those types of things.
In terms of customization, et cetera, and I always, my company has developed software, and so one of the revenue streams that I like more than anything is the Mac. Do you envision in your future providing an opportunity for colleges and universities to request changes, modifications, et cetera?
Yeah, so I definitely think that our current setup is built to be very modular and customizable. We've definitely seen something with Pathify that Bradley likes is being able to customize the platform to, display the Bradley logo and Bradley colors and stuff like that. We recognize that as a value, so we're building our products already with that in mind. And yeah, I mean, we're definitely eager to work with our clients. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Good job. Good. You go up. That's fine. Yeah. Is yours on? You can always see in the protection. It doesn't show you. Is yours on? I don't know. Oh. Yeah.
Hello, testing.
Yours? Okay.
I think businesses would really benefit from a marketing agency that's focused on connections because it's a big C and there's a lot when it comes to just online marketing that might be flooding people.
Love to think that we truly connect with our customers. Of course, it's more challenging every year that goes on, but we try to spend our time not just getting noticed, but also truly feeling seen for who we are as a business and what we want to do.
When we do put ourselves out there, it really is about the story and what we offer.
I think when you see sponsored ads, it seems less personal, less interactive. Sometimes when you are paying for a sponsorship, it just seems more commercial grade. It's more just trying to make the sale versus developing a relationship.
You just heard from real Peoria business owners that are overlooked today by marketing strategies that weren't built for businesses that weren't designed in their communities. Before I entered the marketing industry, I believed marketing was about people, but I soon realized it was obsessed over a system of metrics. But metrics aren't people, and they're not what build trust, loyalty, and community. The gap today in the marketing industry is human connection. And that drive to restoring that connection is what drove my brother and I to co-found Kelly Vo, a boutique marketing agency that helps independently owned businesses connect in their communities through local collaborations, in-person outreach, and real-world experience.
I'd like to introduce to you our pilot client, Crafted DIY Studio and Design, a space where people can create personalized crafts and enjoy a crafted drink. However, despite its unique concept, the business has struggled to generate consistent foot traffic. Why? Because they rely too heavily on paid advertisements and boosted social media posts that take away from real engagement. The owner has poured in a significant amount of money into these efforts only to grow into advertisement fatigue, which 74% of consumers have said they've experienced. If they continue to go down this path, they would risk draining their budget, their trust, and most importantly, their sales.
And that's where we come in, not with another ad campaign, but with hands-on strategies that place our clients in front of their communities. At CaliVo, we offer curated packages that tailor to each business's goals and stage of growth. Through grassroots and guerrilla marketing, we combine and these business pillars share a business's worth. And we prove that with the right strategies, we place these businesses into the highest potential. And for Crafted, we would start by meeting their target audience where they are, on campus. Through a fun pop-up workshop, they would get to know the brand firsthand. We would also collaborate with the Pan-Hellenic Council here at Bradley, because through experiences, they would connect with their communities, and Crafted would increase sales and turn first-time customers into long-term loyalty customers.
Our ideal business are independently owned businesses that are located in North Chicago suburbs and Peoria. We're looking for coffee shops, flower shops, and boutiques that are making around $300,000 to $1 million in annual revenue. Because at this stage, they'll be able to invest 5 to 10% of their annual revenue into marketing. Our client in the North Chicago suburbs area and North and Peoria will be able to look at us online on social media like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and in person at community events, network gatherings, and through local partnerships. Our outreach starts by sparking conversation, not just by pitching. Through community mixes, independently owned businesses can experience firsthand our approach that builds trust, emotional buy-in before any sales talks begin.
To understand what sets CaliVo apart, it's important to look at its competitive landscape. We've analyzed 3 agencies with overlapping services: Macklin, Made, and Back Pocket Media. To start, Macklin excels in brand development and paid advertisements, often attending networking events. However, they lack a focus on local partnerships, leaving community-based businesses without the real-world connection that they need. Made blends storytelling, paid advertisements, and personalized events. However, their focus is on visual design, branding, and the presentation of their campaign. And lastly, Back Pocket Media targets Gen Z through youth-driven digital ad campaigns and networking events. However, their model is centered on online buzz, not lasting community connection. While we offer these similar services, we don't just uncover what makes a business valuable. We take it a step further by activating that value through local partnerships and face-to-face engagement to help businesses move from being seen to being remembered. To launch without client data, we've introduced a 3-month full-service pilot client package. In return, we receive feedback, a testimonial, and a case study to generate our first round on return on relationship data. Each client begins with a discovery session to understand their business's goals, challenges, and the role they have in their community. From there, we recommend one of the 3 tiered service packages, each designed for 3 months and priced between $2,000 to $3,500 per month. After onboarding, we deliver a tailored strategy with regular check-ins. In year 2, we plan to scale through the VO Ambassador Program, a network of locally rooted contractors trained to reflect our values and extend our approach beyond Illinois. As we scale, we risk losing the personal touch that defines us. To prevent that, our ambassadors will be trained to carry on our hands-on strategies.
We are seeking $500,000 to $1 million in funding to scale our business. 40% of this funding will go into hiring our core team. 30% will go into our internal systems. 20% will go into investing into our Vote Ambassador program, which we moved to 4 different cities. And 10% will be invested into our marketing and operations. By year 1, we're estimated to make around $89,296 in revenue, with a $3,231 net loss. However, this is from us focusing on our foundation. By year 2, though, we're estimated to make around $174,444 in revenue, with a $32,518 net profit, reaching this through recurring revenue and referrals. By year 3, we're estimated to make around $186,404 in annual revenue, with a $34,430 net profit as we become a regionally recognized brand. We anticipate a payback in the next 3 to 4 years, as we have a 31.87% return on investment. By year 5, we're evaluated to make around $158,000 to $265,000 in revenue. Our exit strategy involves us our acquisition and licensing of our internal systems into agencies nationwide. As Kelly Vo, we believe in investing in independently owned businesses as they are worth it. And with your support, we can scale that impact. This is our management team, including the 3 of us. We have the pleasure of being mentored by the people you see on the screen.
And since we've launched Kelly Vo, we've been able to register our LLC in Illinois. We were invited to the G Alpha program in September, and we were able to collect in-person testimonials and secure our first pilot client. Our name honors our story and the philosophy behind our work. Vo comes from the French word worth, which represents our mission to highlight the real value behind independently owned businesses and connect them to their community. As first generation, with a mother who migrated from Chile, we were taught to advocate for ourselves, to be seen and valued even in places that weren't always built for us. And that foundation shaped our belief that a business's worth doesn't come from its price tag, it comes from the impact it makes on its people and its community. And now we ask,
will you help us empower independent businesses to claim their worth? Thank you.
Nice work. Really nice work. You guys
Thank
showing up
you.
with a lot of energy. One thing I noted in your feasibility plan really stood out, and that was a unique understanding of Gen Z. And I think, fits nicely with everything you guys shared today. A question that comes to mind is, during my days at Coca-Cola, we loved local market. We talked about golden gallons because they were really profitable opportunities for the company. There's targeting of local businesses, and then there's the targeting of brands trying to reach those same local businesses, whether it's Coke or a beer brand, any number of consumables or durables, right? Have you guys given thought to how the likes of Coke or Miller Coors or others fit into your construct of tapping into that local market opportunity?
As of right now, we decided to go with independently owned businesses because they are a smaller market and bigger marketing agencies kind of underserve them, and they do have special qualities that do be needed to meet.
Yeah, and so we really target independently owned businesses, like she said, because they're a small market. We don't want to work with corporations because corporations already have a built-in marketing team. We target independently owned businesses because they cannot afford, some of them cannot afford in-house marketing, That's why they come to Kelly Vo.
My question is, what are you doing to get those target small businesses to come to you and take on your services? What are your steps?
To be honest, it's more of us coming to them. Like the video that we showed, it was an in-person collection of testimonials. We went out, we reached out to them, we talked about their challenges, their needs, and how we can help them with our solutions. So it's mostly us coming to them.
At Kelly Vo, we believe in in-person interaction. So we want to be able to bring in our customers through in-person interaction. Even though we're using social media, that's to get our name across the whole country. But we want to make sure we have that personal connection with our customers.
So you're three people, so that's why you're going to be training ambassadors
Mhm.
with your same philosophy to go out to these small businesses?
I deal with small businesses all the time, and the small business owner has expertise in a certain area, and when it comes to marketing, they get very glassy-eyed. They know they need to do it. They don't know how to do it. He or she doesn't know how to do it. It's always been an issue of ROI. They can't quite figure out the ROI and the benefits of all that, and they struggle big time on it. What your approach is very right on. I'm assuming through your plan here, your I forgot the name of it, but where you're listing out the strategy, are you defining the expectations of what you're going to do? Because that's always what they struggle with, is that I'm going to give you $2,000 a month. What am I going to get out of that $2,000 a month? And is that going to be part of your deliverable when you get back to them based on the first discussion? Number one.
So, I understand what, I understand what you're saying, sorry. So, yes, so the $2,000 per month will be from the first package. We offer relationship building, so local partnerships. We emphasize on local partnerships because it's what we do. We create local partnerships between our clients and another client that we have, or a client that we have in another business that has the same target segment and audience as them.
So you're not targeting his customers. You're just targeting somebody that's complementary. I guess I'm trying.
We try to make sure, so we also offer local partnerships. So we don't want the local independent businesses in the area to be competition. We want to see them as each other's partners. So we plan to help each of the people in the same target segment to be able to identify the same audience and bring in flow for both businesses, so both of them are booming. With the craft DIY example, we see that we want to collaborate with Zion Coffee, who is also like right next door. But people look past craft DIY because they go for coffee rather than going for craft DIY. We want to bring them together and pull in on both the audience.
Yes.
Okay. Again, I just want to also, great job on the marketing material and the collateral, being a marketing agency. That's very nice. And the video, did a nice job on that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Excellent work on the presentation, and I like the black and white.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is intriguing and likely very attractive to small business. The price point is right for small business. What I'd like to try to ask you to explain is it's a small price point for the amount of human resource that needs to go into your being successful for your client. And so have you thought about, for example, how many clients at $2,000 a month would an ambassador feel would make it worth his or her while to partner with you and take that engagement on?
Yeah, currently we can take up to 11 people with our size of our team. So we know what amount of people or amount of clients we can take on at a certain time. And with the, if you go to the financial slide, because we prepared a slide with the charts of our finances. Yeah, so you can see that we planned ahead to estimate how many people we can take on at a time. As you see with the year one, we can take on 11 people, but with the VO Ambassador program, with our additional support, we were able to take on around 22 clients and show them that we're reliable and be able to actually show them that marketing is effective for them.
And so when you recruit ambassadors, setting expectations for them would be that you would expect them to take on 11 clients.
Yeah, we want them to be able
Understand.
to make up the same margin as we are.
Thank you.
More questions?
Who wants to do the holder? Huh?
Obrigado.
Vamos acompanhar por aqui, tem que ir por ali. Já legal.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We really appreciate all of your attention and your patience. As you can see, we might not be as fancy as the other teams that just presented, but we're here for all of you guys in the audience, the parents, the amazing dads, the great grandparents, and everything in between. But today, we're really excited to introduce you to Tiny Footprint. So what is Tiny Footprint? Tiny Footprint is a baby item rental service. Our product works through an online platform where users pay monthly for a subscription service that allows them to rent out baby items from clothes, toys, to large items like strollers and bouncers. Now, where did this idea come from? One day, I was FaceTiming my cousin, and they just recently had a kid, and I was looking at their living room, and it was full of toys and clothes and unused items that just took up way too much space. And I had to ask them, as someone who's never had a kid, you know, there has to be a solution to all of these things. Why are they just sitting around going unused? And that's when I had the idea for Tiny Footprint. So our vision is to become the global leader in baby items services. So introducing our team, my name is Caleb Ribeiro. I'm a senior computer science major, also a member of the men's soccer team here, and I'm super passionate about this business.
My name's Alyssa Barrera. I'm a public relations and advertising major. I'm a junior, and my minor is also entrepreneurship and innovation, and I'm really passionate about sustainability in the fashion industry.
My name is Chris Eubanks. I'm a management and leadership major here. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to be a part of a Tiny Footprint is because I have many nieces and nephews myself. And every time I go to one of my siblings' homes, there's a room that's dedicated just to my nieces and nephews. And whenever I look at my nieces and nephews, I'm like, oh, they're all grown up. So why is it a room dedicated to a lot of baby items? And just acknowledging this problem made me find the value in a Tiny Footprint.
Hello, my name is Jacob Davis. I am currently a junior marketing major here at Bradley University. And one of the things that made me get on board when Caleb pitched this idea was I've personally worked in retail for about 2 years. And I've seen with my very own eyes parents constantly coming in and spending hundreds of dollars at a time on these items. And then they keep coming back and buying more and more. And it really made me realize how much of an asset this could potentially be to these parents and how much money they could possibly save.
So we wouldn't be anywhere without giving a shout out to our mentors. Seems like we share a couple mentors in the room with the other teams. Hopefully they didn't, give away any of our secrets. But special shout out to Latoya and Danielle for mentoring us. But we also have a secret mentor, my cousin, but more importantly, baby Leonardo, who's the most important mentor for this whole entire project.
And then so kind of to jump into it, as we were developing this idea further, we came across that there's 4 major problems that most parents deal with in this industry. So the first one would be price. As we mentioned, babies grow at an exponential rate, like they're constantly growing. And a lot of these items have very short lifespan, so you're constantly buying them. And as well, they're not cheap, especially some of the bigger items like strollers and car seats and cribs. They cost a lot of money. And then the second issue would be clutter. As both Caleb and Chris mentioned, they create so much clutter in your home, and often either you have a whole room in the house dedicated to all of these items, or you have a little corner in your apartment, but either way, it's taking up space that you don't really have. And then the third one would be, excuse me. Yeah. So the third one would also be
Resale.
Right, resale. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
All right, so resale would be another big issue. A lot of the times you pay so much money for these items, and it's like you don't just want to give them away to Goodwill or something like that. So a lot of times people hold garage sales, but the issue with that is it's very inconsistent. People can't necessarily sell all these items. Like a lot of times they still end up with leftover, or on top of that, they feel like they're not getting the value back that they spent on these items. So that's very inconsistent. And then the last one might not be something that parents deal with, but it's something that is very important to us, and that'd be the environment. There is over 92 million tons of textile waste every single year. And baby products play a huge role in that as well. So this is where Tiny Footprint comes in. So Tiny Footprint would address these problems through our online platform, which would act as a subscription as well as a rental service. So you pay a monthly fee, and then you can rent these baby items. So that way you can save up some of the space in your house. You know, you can get the items once you're done with them, and you could send them back. You clear up the space, as well as you're saving a lot of money that you would be spending monthly on a lot of these items. And then, as I mentioned before, the environment. So we're also very eco-friendly. So when you send us back the items, we would take care of them. And then also, if there are other homes who want these items, we would place these items back into those homes in order to save on textile waste.
Okay, so briefly how it works is you pick a subscription plan that suits your needs and you receive credits and then you go shopping with those credits. The items get shipped directly to your house, and then when your time is up with the item, you can choose to either buy it out, you can extend the time you have with it, or return it.
Here are 3 different subscription tiers. We have standard, premium, and luxury. And basically, the more you pay, the more credits you receive. For our standard tier, this will be for budget-friendly families, those who just want to start supplementing items monthly. And these families will most likely acquire different clothing items, because our clothing items will be ranging from 1 to 3 credits, while our toys will range from 4 to 7. And then while our bigger items will range from 7 to 10. And for the premium, when you have the premium subscription, you will be able to get clothes and toys. And then as a luxury big baller, you will be able to achieve just special occasion clothes, right? We see that baby Leo in the picture. He has on a $100 tuxedo. And if you were wondering how many times did he wear it, it was once. And you know, taking advantage of Tiny Footprint, not only will you save, but then somebody else can get that tuxedo. The baby market industry is massive and is growing at a rapid rate. Currently, it's worth over 350 billion, and is projected to be worth 600 billion and 233. And in the U.S. alone, it is worth over 35 billion, and is projected to be worth 50 billion in 2034. And the average cost a parent spends on a child monthly is over $127. And taking advantage of Tiny Footprints, you will be able to save over $1,400 upward.
So these are a few of our competitors. What Tiny Footprint has that these similar companies don't is we want to have a really strong online presence, unlike Goodwill. And we also want to have a one-stop shop for all baby items that's guaranteed. You know you're going to get your items in. And we're also eco-friendly. So I know today's Earth Day, so happy Earth Day, everybody. But yeah, we just really believe in that you need to treat the planet you call home with respect. And then for marketing strategy, just having, like I said, an online presence. Social media marketing is everything nowadays. So being really active on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, not only with pages, but also with ads. And then being active on blogs. We know parents, especially new parents, have a ton of questions. So just getting our name out there through helping them with blogs. And then also influencers, family-oriented influencers, whether that be a YouTuber who wants to shout out one of our products on their page. And then also referral programs, just incentive for people to go ahead and share Tiny Footprints with their loved ones. And then also collaborations with pediatric clinics. I know around here we have OSF. Just having infographics in OSF, and then people can read it while they wait. Just get our name out there that way.
So the way our business is going to function through operations, we're going to have a centralized warehouse starting here in Illinois. Firstly, mostly because we're all based here in this area, and we've talked with tons and tons of parents of the area. So we have a large client base we're already accessing. So we'll be able to staff people locally through here. The way we're going to source inventory is we're going to have to buy a lot of inventory through bulk retailers, but we're also going to partner with secondhand stores to acquire inventory. But most importantly, one of the ways that we're going to acquire this inventory is have a donate for credit system, which basically allows parents, whether they're subscribers to our service or not, will be able to donate items, whether it be clothes, toys, or larger items, in exchange for credits that they can use on our website, growing our own user base, but also growing our inventory at the same time. Sure. The way the platform works, it's going to be an online platform. We're going to manage all the people's memberships and track their orders, and we're going to obviously function through a rental service, as I mentioned. Most important number you're probably looking for, seeking $385,000 investment, which will cover those upfront inventory costs and the staffing costs, as you can see here. Since we're running short on time, I'd like to thank everybody here in the room, not just the judges, but everyone here for paying attention. I know this was a long presentation, but congratulations to all the other teams, and we're super grateful. I know I speak for other teams that this opportunity is amazing, and regardless of what happens, thank you all for your patience.
I compliment the casual appearance of your team. That's the business you're in. I want to make a comment, and then I want to ask a question that might seem a bit multifaceted, but I'm going to try my best to bring it around. First of all, in your feasibility study, you mentioned an exit strategy, and I applaud you for that. Most entrepreneurs build a business in order to monetize it at some point in the future, and so I congratulate you for that. And I would just say that there are huge tax advantages of setting up the business under the proper structure if you're planning to do that. So I would ask, you probably don't have time to answer that at this point, but I would ask that you consider that. In your inventory of items, anybody who's been a mom or a grandma or an auntie or an uncle knows that the issue of obsolescence is really significant in that business. The monitor that I had, the baby monitor that I had for my first grandson, who was 4 years older than his little brother, was obsolete when the second baby came along, and my daughter rolled her eyes at me like, "Mom, really?" So I might be subscribing to but I'm asking, my question is, in terms of obsolescence, do you have an obsolescence consideration built into your business model? And then, because these items, even before they become obsolete, need to be provided with safety characteristics at a premium, and you're outsourcing, according to your feasibility study, your cleaning and your evaluation of the product to make certain that it's usable again and usable safely. Have you considered any sort of indemnification conversations with your third-party providers, like the evaluators, and if not, what can you do? What do you believe you can do to minimize any exposure, legal exposure, that you would have in providing a car seat, for example, that has a strap that's about to tear?
Sure. I can answer firstly the first part of the questions regarding obsolescence. On our end, we aim to reevaluate every single item that passes through our inventory once it's returned, to reevaluate the state at which it can be reused. And that applies for all items, whether it be clothes, toys, etc. So, for example, like obviously children really use clothes, they get dirty, and there might be a certain point when a baby play outfit might be unusable after the third time that a parent has rented it. And that we evaluated in our feasibility plan to have a cost to cover that. But we will evaluate through every round to make sure that parents are getting items that are lightly used and that can be actually usable for their child. And to answer your second question, we do address a little bit of the legal questions, obviously regarding car seats and other items that might cause legal ramifications. We have on our end the ability to address those through, one, we are going to offer like an insurance program where parents can pay an insurance fee on every item if they choose to do so. And two, if an item like a car seat, gets into a car accident, it cannot be reused, and we will have a system in place that outlines that depending on the item, they cannot be reused if X happens. So obviously we want to totally take care of all of legal ramifications and make sure that parents are able to use our products knowing that they won't, fail on them. Obviously those things are essential.
So I want to say that what you guys did is really a definition of entrepreneurship. Just talking to somebody unrelated, who you're not married, you don't have any kids, do you?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And all of a sudden you come up with a solution that's probably been staring a lot of people in the face for a long time, but didn't come up with. That's the pure definition of entrepreneurship. So I want to, congratulate you on that thought process, because that's the type of thought process we all need, whether it's baby clothes or the newest technology going down the path. So congrats on that. Secondly, I like the approach on the focus market, Central Illinois. Stay focused, make sure the model works, keep very focused in that area. I would suggest that you look at your financials, your salaries. I know you want to get paid, but I think there should be some sweat equity going on in there. So because you're over 50% of your total monies you want as your own salaries. So you're going to have some issues getting people to give you that. All right, so look at that. Look at that if you could. And then the other thing is there's an enormous amount of other apps that moms are on all the time that you could be promoting, like Nextdoor. And I'm sure you guys have thought of that, but just to throw that out. But thanks. Great job.
I have a couple questions. My first is, what's the age range of the children's products and clothes?
So we're mainly looking at from infancy to about 2 years old.
Okay, great. And my second one is, as I was looking at your models for your customers and your examples that you had in your business plan, and your standard was $39.99 for 7 credits, and then it went up for a 15 credit, and then up again for a 25 credit. And then your tuxedo example said that the tuxedo would be 7 credits. That would use up one person's monthly allotment if they were on the standard program, correct? Were you thinking about how many purchases people would need to have and how they can get more credits? I mean, I know your highest one is 25, but if you're saying children's clothing ranges from, 3 to 7 credits, they're not buying too many things per month then on your program. Have you thought about extension of that or how that might work?
Yeah, so one thing we were considering, which we haven't fully fleshed out yet, is just having each individual item be able to be rented outside of your own monthly subscription. That's something that I think we haven't fully developed yet, just because I think it would complicate our core business as of right now. But in response to your question regarding the number of credits, we kind of outlined those examples to kind of illustrate the types of parents that might use it in a way to show that like a parent who's looking to get a tuxedo only one time, that might be feasible to use for 1 month only, and you're only spending 1 month. Even though you might use your credits for that monthly time, those reset every month. So it's not like you only have 7 credits in total. But yes, hopefully the parent that's buying the tuxedo maybe pays for our more expensive subscription. But yes, I think that's something that the actual prices of things I think we could always reevaluate those. We're totally open to that, especially in conversations with parents and making sure that our business model is actually feasible for the average parent trying to save money.
Thank you.
I pay $50 a month for my daughter's Fashion Pass subscription to my deep chagrin. She gets 6 luxury items a month, and they're worn once, sent back. So I was really struck by your comment about unique merchandise, tuxedo for a toddler. No one wants to buy that. It leads to my question, which is, in your feasibility plan, you said something like 63% of those that you surveyed do secondhand clothing. They, from friends, from families, from neighbors. Did you get underneath that a little bit, about just willingness to participate in a subscription for baby specific stuff? And was there anything you discerned about merchandise types that were kind of something moms would be open to and dads would be open to, and others that were just, belong in a box of memorabilia, or they would never consider in the secondhand sense of things?
Well, talking to a lot of parents, most of them said, like, when it comes to baby bibs, that is a clothing item that they most likely wouldn't rent out, just due to the fact that between the infancy and the first 2 months, first 2 years, those get ruined very fast, and most parents just throw them out and grab more. So when it comes to different clothing items, we know that certain parents aren't willing to take secondhand, but most of them are willing to take secondhand when it comes to any other clothing items outside of something that's constantly get ruined. But another thing that I just want to outline as well is that the bigger items is what most parents will take advantage of, especially due to like having car seats. Like, I know that between infancy and 2 years, you have to buy a few different ones because of different rules and regulations. And many parents might not want to buy these very expensive car seats and then only use them for a certain period of time.
And I think to also add on to your question, when we surveyed those parents, the average amount of money that they were spending per month on just clothes and toys alone was upwards of $130. Now, if they're spending that much money alone, to me, that indicates that the average parent spending $40 a month to supplement their closet where they're not keeping that, I think makes sense, given the fact that a lot of people already, if 63% of parents are buying secondhand items. To me, that demonstrates a large group of people that are already willing to adopt the secondhand nature of clothing, et cetera. And I think everything nowadays is a subscription, everything you use. And I think it just makes parents' lives easier when they know that they can rotate those items month over month and not have to worry about them. Toys especially are something that people don't consider a lot, that infants just get really bored of toys and they just sit there and they're just waiting for someone to buy it up at a yard sale or throw it away. And I think if we can simplify the lives of parents and allow them to get the items they want without having to think too much about it, I think that's the real value.
Yeah, no, I think your insight's right on point. It used to be, folks would kind of bury the fact that they are getting clothes from Fashion Pass. Now I think it's sort of a badge. It's something to talk about or to show off. So I think you're onto something.
Thank you.
Go first. All right. Well, let's have another hand of welcome and congratulations. Shake all that nervousness off. Woo, woo, woo. All right. Very nicely done, teams. Now the judges have some difficult work, right? That's going to be difficult. And they're going to go downstairs for a few moments, we hope, a few moments, to talk about and come to a consensus, as Dr. Hashimoto said at the beginning. But in the meantime, we have some celebrations that we would like to share with you, and I think some nice surprises, right, of folks that we will do. So our first celebration, I'll do? Okay. Our first celebration is of our student workers. I mentioned at the beginning, introduced myself, we introduced Dr. Hashimoto, we introduced Dr. Talkington, but the truth is not a lot would happen without a really good core group of student workers who are working very hard. And so you'll see a couple of names here that are in italics, and I'm going to ask those students to come up because those students will be graduating in May. Barani is not here, but we'll give a round of applause for Barani. Hardik, who you've met before as part of the team. Come on up, Hardik. Hardik is a Master's of Science in Accountancy along with Barani. Komali. Hola. And the next two people, Sindhu and Stephanie, have been with us actually their entire experience at Bradley. So Sindhu is also a master's student in computer science, and Stephanie is a transfer student from ICC who has been here. So please. And before I call the rest of the folks up, we just had a little gift to say thank you to the students who have been working out with us this long and those who have graduated or about to graduate. So if I can, Sindhu. Molly. I'm going to give you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. So another round of applause. And then we have some students around who are not graduating, but who have done some amazing work as well. So Kaylee Colito, is Kaylee? She has been very busy because she is our event and planning student. So I think she's outside keeping things going. Emma Smith, one of our newest members on the team. Emma, you want to come up? Emma does our marketing. So if you have not been following us on social media, Emma has been posting live. So the teams come up. So please join them. And Vera. Vera is also a master's in accountancy. I'm going to try one more time for Kaylee if she's out in the hallway.
Oh, for Andrew. Because where there's Andrew.
Right, Andrew's going to find Kaylee. She might have just stepped out. All right, so please join me again in saying thank you very much to our amazing student workers. All right, when you see Kaylee, she's the one with the clipboard. You won't be able to miss her, so please say thank you for her amazing planning. May I do the next one? And you'll do the one after that? Okay. All right. So I'm going to take one more opportunity for a celebration, and this is a really big celebration. It's a special celebration, and I'm want to recognize it is in honor of Kenneth and Leslie Bear. And like myself, they're from Western New York. They are alum of Bradley and have made a donation to the Turner School, which enables us to recognize an outstanding graduating senior who has demonstrated leadership through our competitions and also who has demonstrated academic excellence through our coursework. And this is the first time we've been able to give this award in a few years for a couple of reasons. So it's a very big surprise, maybe even to our advisory council, because this has been a little bit hidden, but also to the students because we do have some alum from the Big Idea competition in the back. Yeah, just don't try to hide there. We've got you, yes. And Raul would go over here as well. So we've not done this before. So they'll be like, what's going on with that? So with a little bit of suspense and a little bit of drum rolls. The Kenneth and Leslie Bear Award, which together with this recognition is also $1,000 to the graduating student. And I'm going to read this certificate and ask that student to come up when I announce his name. So this award is recognizing an undergraduate student with demonstrated leadership in co-curricular competitions and outstanding academic performance in the Turner School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. So please join me in congratulating Nabil Tagba.
Oh yeah, he's my student too.
He's our student.
Oh, I found him first though. That's a hurry. You gotta have him in class.
Excellent. All right, congratulations, Nabil. Dr. Talkington?
We have a program called Innovation Ambassadors where we hired 6 undergraduate students, mostly freshmen and sophomore, and we tasked them to go out and find the most innovative thinkers on campus. We took nominations, but the students decided who they were going to interview. And they had about 15 minutes of training, and we turned them loose all semester. And then last week, they turned in all their posters, which is what you see here. I'd like these ambassadors that are here to come up on stage and to be recognized. Is anyone still here? They've all been here. Aiden is here. Christian's here. And the other ones were here earlier in the day, and they hosted their posters. So Christian was our student last year who was on the team as a writer, but this year he took the position of managing the next student team we hired. So I'd like to ask you to come to the podium and just tell us a couple of lines about what it was like to interview these total strangers and what surprised you most. Aiden?
I would say the most surprising part was learning every faculty member has something to offer here. And when they come together as a collective, everything goes a lot smoother for the Bradley experience.
And at 4:30, we opened up before the big idea, and a lot of these poster people came and they networked with each other, which was really great to have chemistry, talking to music, talking to biology. It's our way of breaking down the silos and helping identify who our most innovative people are on campus. And we'll probably do it again. We did this last year. We've done it this year. It's our second go round, and we'll do it again for the third year next year. So thank you for everyone for doing such a good job. And I'd like to release you to stretch and to go to the posters and read and talk to the people who are doing the writing. And when the judges come back, we'll call you back to your seats. So you have an intermission with a mission. And one of them in the bill took a class as a
If I may have your attention, I believe the judges are about ready to come upstairs. So the tension is back. So we'll have our seats. All right, so when the judges come up and Dr. Hashimoto will be announcing who the winners are, we're actually going to have two very special guests join us in presenting the winners. And a lot of folks always get really nervous because they come up to me during these, whether it's the big idea or the speaker event, and they all say, Mary, you forgot to introduce Bob and Carolyn Turner. And I say, no, I did not forget to introduce them. I want to recognize, I want them to see the energy and feel all of what their vision and their investment has brought back to us. And then I'm going to ask them to come up on stage and share in that glory by handing out the checks. So if you will, please welcome to the stage, Bob and Carolyn Turner. Yes, that is worth a standing ovation. I love it. Thank you very much for all you do. And thank you. And I'm also going to ask our interim provost, Dr. Dan Moon. Oh, there, sorry, I lost track of you for a second there, Dan, to join us on the stage as well, because reaching back to our words of welcome from President Shadid, he talked about this is really a combination of vision, persistence, taking what you're learning in the classroom, the academic side of which Provost Moon really leads us with at Bradley, and combining that into some real practical application, and then taking a big risk of putting yourself out there and challenging your self-confidence. So we're going to present the checks and present the awards for first, second, and third place. And that's going to be presented by Bob and Carolyn Turner and our interim provost, Dan Moon. So are we ready, Dr. Hashimoto? All right, I'm getting off the stage.
Okay. Are we ready? Let's see. There's the rumble. Third place goes to Tiny Footprint. Second place goes to Dormley. And now, who is the winner of 2025 Big Idea Competition? It goes to the Hunter System. And we have another special, one more, please. Yeah, so we have this award now for the first time, for the first year. We want to honor the best performance on the Innovation Expo. And we are going to honor the table at the Innovation Expo who received more votes from the public. And this year, the winner of the Public Choice Award is Teleshield. That's all for tonight. Thank you very much for the participation, everybody, for the judges, mentors. See you again next year.
If we could have all the teams with their checks, please come to the front for some photos. So all of the teams who have competed, please come to the front. And thank you again to the judges. Thank you to the mentors. And all of the teams, Kelly Va. And we have some certificates for you as well individually, so we'll get those out to you now. Come on up, guys.